Hey guys, I'm Tyler Kopstock and welcome to my channel. I represent Frontline Academy and I'm a student under Eduardo Teta Rios. I'm a full-time Jiu-Jitsu athlete and instructor, and I created this page to share my techniques, training, and Jiu-Jitsu journey with you. Feel free to like and subscribe, and welcome to the family. Us. Hey guys, welcome to another week here at the beginner's course, and today we're going to go through some back mount fundamentals. So we're going to start off from the position we did last week in the mount position and just go into the back mount from there. So Christian is going to be here on the bottom, and a very common reaction when I'm in the mount position is that he commits to one side and he starts giving me his back here, okay? And we're just going to turn a little bit so you guys can see. What I'm looking for here is to always get tight behind his shoulder blade here, okay? So I really want to prevent him from turning back in towards me. That will stop me from getting his back. So basically I'm going to get my chest and put it right behind here, okay? To help myself to get even closer, I'm going to slide this knee high, right? So this knee is pretty far up, close to his head. Watch how I'm going to go in for a seat belt grip. And a seat belt grip is pretty basic. It's one arm going around his head, the other one going underneath his arm, and I'm just looking to connect my hands together here, okay? If you want to be very specific, you can grab this hand on top of the other one. So coming here in this position, you always want to pull your arms in and push with your chest, so you're always putting pressure, okay? Of course, ideally, I can set up into a gift wrap position here, but we're going to go through that in another session, okay? So from this position now, I'm going to pull Christian on top of me. And to do that, I have to pull him in the right direction. So I have the connection here where I'm controlling his shoulder here. But if I just try to pull him right on top of me, it's not going to be enough, okay? So what I have to do here is I have to pull him a little bit to the side, okay? Almost towards my legs. So here, I'm controlling, putting pressure, and I'm pulling him to the side here, okay? Suddenly it's a lot easier to get into this position, okay? I have my first hook, so all I need is this second hook here. That is, of course, a fight. Sometimes people are very good at defending it. It's difficult for me to get this leg in. Sometimes I'm going for the neck so that they think about the neck first, and that's when I can put the hook in, right? So there's a lot of different scenarios and, of course, dilemmas that you want to give the person that's being taken or back taken. So here, mount, he starts defending or turning to the side. Get that connection behind the shoulder, right? And really get tight, slide my knee high. I'm going to pull him over to my side, so over to my right side here, okay? So he's not right on top of me. He's falling here. And I want to get tight to his back, okay? So we're just gonna go and square up with the camera here so you guys can see. And very basic here. This leg is hooking the inside of his thigh. This leg is hooking the inside of his thigh. There's a couple of reasons for this, because I want to stop him from turning in towards me. So a very common thing that beginners do is that they cross their legs, but the reality is I lose control over Christian, and he can actually start turning in towards me. And another thing is actually it's dangerous because he can now go for a leg lock on top of my feet here. It's kind of douchey, but it works, and he will definitely do it if he sees me crossing my legs, okay? So you don't want to be there shamefully tapping, so always make sure that you're putting your feet here apart and always pressing towards the thighs, okay? The seat belt is a little bit about what side, of course, you prefer, but also which side you're leaning towards, okay? So just talking about the fundamentals here, I will always use this hand that's going over shoulder to usually go for the chokes, okay? So this is going to be the choking hand. This is going to be the controlling arm, okay? And if you want to think about the seat belt, you always want to put your choking hand underneath so that when you're hiding here, if he tries to pull his or pull the hand here or grab any hands with his hands, so if he's pulling my hands away, he's pulling that top hand first, right? And then I can slide in this sneaky choking hand, right? So a good rule is always to keep the choking hand underneath here, okay? Now another rule to always think about and it's not a definitive rule, but it does help to control, is to fall to the side where you have the choking hand. Okay, so if you can come over to this side, that's the best thing that can happen, right? If you fall over to the other side, it's not over, but it's a little bit more difficult to control and keep the position. Okay, here my arm is blocking his head from going to the floor, and it's easy for me to stay tight like this. Okay, make sure that you're keeping your hooks in. As a very easy way for him to start escaping is to slide his hips out, and that's when I start to lose the position. Okay, so nice and easy. We're just working the, we can start from the beginning. Just working from the position here, where I get his back, get tight, pull him over, get the hooks. You can experiment a little bit here, just controlling, seeing if he's moving a little bit. Is he sliding too much out from my hooks here, or am I keeping it good? Okay. Make sure also that you're not too high up like this. This is going to be bad as well. So you want to be right behind their hip and right behind their shoulders. Okay. Wow. Okay, guys, so we're gonna go a little bit further here from the back takes or the back mount, and then we're gonna go into a lapel choke. So starting off pretty basic here, where Christian is already in the back mount here, and a very nice drill to help yourself understand how the lapel choke works is to understand how you're gonna set it up. Okay, so first off, we have the seatbelt grip where I'm controlling here, right? But a lot of the time I'm looking to open up this lapel here with the arm going underneath his armpit here. Okay, so I'm opening and I'm going to flip it a little bit out towards that side here. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is to get a really nice and powerful grip here with my all 4 fingers on top here. Okay, the thing is, if I'm just holding it like this, it's not as strong. It's easy for me to slip off, and he can easily pull my arm away. So if I can create this little hook here, it's much, much stronger. Okay, so that helps a lot. You can always pull, like tighten it a little bit as you do so. This will make a really nice tight fabric so that it's easy for you to get the choke. As soon as you have opened this lapel and you've gotten this grip, this hand here can now go over to the other side. This is going to help tighten the fabric even more. So that little loose fabric that's on the back of his neck, that gets taken away by pulling down on this one, and then I can start proceeding by pulling over with this hand here across his neck. So this is everything on the front side. Okay, we're gonna go on this side here, so we're gonna be leaning a little bit to the side, and this is most likely where you're gonna finish the choke. Okay, especially since this is where we ended up after taking the back of Christian here when we went for the back take. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use this shoulder that I have behind his neck to push. Okay, so watch how, if I'm just choking here, there's some space behind his neck here. So I want to close that space by bringing my shoulder behind his neck here. Okay, if you feel like this is not enough pressure, I like to use this foot also to push on his hip here. This is going to help me control the position a little bit. Okay, if my legs are just down here, it feels not as if I can pull enough. So if I can push him a little bit away, I can pull even more. Okay, so here, tightening, and we have a nice choke. Okay, of course, sometimes you have to adjust, so maybe you have to go a little bit deeper, maybe you were too loose, so you can always adjust here, and then shot nice and tight. So, starting from a seatbelt position, you want to open the lapel up, grab the lapel, make sure that you're twisting it so you get a really nice grip here. Grab the opposite lapel. Now I'm going to bring my shoulder behind his neck here. Step on the far hip, and there we have a nice choke. Okay, remember now I'm the wrong side. Okay, so this is technically the harder side to defend. So a thing that you might want to keep in mind is that he doesn't have to, or you have to try to not let him get his head to the floor here. Okay, so if I can do this in this position and I feel like his head is coming down towards the floor, I have to make sure that I'm using my head actively to prevent him to do that. And then adjust, bring my shoulder in again, and then you can go for the choke. Okay? Os. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hey guys, welcome to another week here at the beginner's course, and today we're going to go through some back mount fundamentals and how to get the back from the mount position, because that's what we did last week. And of course, we're going to go through the classic rear naked choke, and that will be it for today. So basic here, Christian is in the bottom mount position here, and he's going to be reacting in a very classic manner, which is to turn to the side. Maybe he was trying to escape, maybe he was trying to grab my leg. It can be all sorts of different reasons, okay? So what I'm looking for here is to basically stick my chest to his back as tight as possible. And I want to slide this knee behind him quite high up, so it's pretty much at the same height as his head. And I'm looking to do something called a seat belt. So a seat belt is when I grab my arms around his head and his arm. So it's kind of like a seat belt where a seat belt will go, right? So when I'm here, I'm going to go tight to his chest and I'm pulling with my hands here. If you want to be really specific, I'm always going to go with this arm above the top arm, okay? So the arm going underneath the armpit is going to go and cover the arm that's going right around the neck, okay? So here I'm pulling tight, staying close, and this is going to help me so that I can go now into the back mount. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull him over me. Ideally, of course, I would go for a gift wrap position here as well, but we're going to save that for another session, so don't worry about that. So here, going to stay tight. Watch this leg. I'm going to use this momentum here, or I'm going to use myself to slide him over me to the side here, okay? So never go straight back. If I try to pull him right on top of me, most likely I'll lose the position, okay? So I'm going to stay tight. I'm going to pull him to the side here, to my right. And immediately we end up in this scenario where I have already my first hook, and I'm going to be fighting to get my second hook in. Of course, it depends on the guy. Sometimes it's going to be really difficult. Sometimes it's going to be easy. Maybe even you catch an arm, that's a really good scenario, because then you're really fighting just one arm left, right? But here, we're going to end up in the back mount position. So talking about the back mount here, nice and easy. I got two hooks in between his legs here, okay? And I want to make sure that I'm really pushing in towards his inner thigh on both sides. Reason being, if I don't have pressure on his thighs here, and let's say I'm crossing, this is a very classic beginner thing to do. So I'm crossing here. What happens now, it's really easy for Christian to turn inside my legs here. So I don't have really the control that I want to keep him looking away from me. So, and as well as that, I actually give him a really nice submission where he can cross on top of my legs and even get my ankles to break, right? So I don't want that to happen. It's quite shameful to tap for that one, but yeah, it happens, and he will go for it if he sees the opportunity. So that kind of covers my legs. There's a lot more to it, but this is very basic. And second thing here is my arms, right? So you're gonna have probably a preferred side, which side you like to go and which side you like to choke with, all of that. But a very nice rule to think of is how we're falling, right? So if we're falling to our left, I wanna make sure that my left arm is beside his neck. This is gonna give me a very safe position to control from, like here, okay? If we fall to our right, this is a little bit harder to control. It's not the end of the world, but this is what I kind of don't want to happen, right? So now I'm losing his back. So to prevent that, I'm always gonna stay tight. So I'm blocking his head from going to the floor with my head here, okay? So staying tight is usually a very important thing in the back mount. So now we've kind of covered this part. So I just want to control, and we're going to set up in for a choke after this. Okay guys, so we're going to go a little bit further here, and we're going to go in for the rear naked choke. So this choke is perhaps very famous. It's one of the first things people learn when they see jiu-jitsu. But today we're going to do it for real, right? So Christian is just going to start sitting here in front of me and going through the basics here. What I'm looking for is to get one arm really deep here. So I'm looking to go as far as I can. I'm grabbing his trap muscle here, or the back of his shoulder here. as much as I can. Of course, depends on the proportions. Let's say Christian was really big and I was having like T-Rex arms, then maybe this would be as far as it goes, right? But in my case, I have really long arms. So I'm really gonna look for a deep arm here, okay? At the same time, what you're gonna see is these arms are always gonna be defending and making it difficult for you. Like this is just something we have to deal with. We're gonna go a little bit more complicated later on next week, but for now, we're just gonna try now to block one arm away. So when I'm blocking this arm and taking it away, I'm gonna grab his pinky here, or right underneath his pinky. So here, this grip is gonna be really irritating for the person here. So if I'm grabbing his wrist, a lot of times they can break that grip and it's really hard for me to get control again, right? So if I can grab like the side of his palm here, so he tries to do the same thing, it's pretty hard for him to control it or get it out, okay? So I'm looking for this at the same time as I'm controlling this. Now he just has one arm to defend, so if he tries to grab my hand, I can still kind of crawl my hand up, okay? Now we're gonna turn a little bit to the side so you guys can see. Now I'm not too afraid with this arm, so I'm gonna let go, and now I'm gonna slide so I can use my palm here on my forearm and then slide it all the way to my bicep, okay? Now I'm gonna chop this hand here behind his neck, okay? And when I'm chopping it, I'm not chopping it with my palm towards the back of his neck. I'm chopping it so that my palm is facing myself, okay? So here, boom. And once I've locked it here, I wanna secure it with my neck. So I'm putting my chin on top of it, okay? So this is just to lock the submission. Then you have to kind of go for the squeeze. So coming from this position, I pushed it down, I climbed all the way up here, always staying tight because I want to control this, right? Now I'm gonna slide and come in, okay? Lock it with my chin here, and now to squeeze, we're gonna turn a little bit to the camera so everybody can see Christian. So when I'm squeezing, of course, I'm gonna make it tight, but I also wanna try to pull my elbow a little bit back. So this elbow is being pulled back, okay? And I'm using my chest to close the space. A lot of the times, what I'm just gonna do loosely here, a lot of times, this is what we see with beginners, that they pull, right? And when you're pulling, you're creating space behind the back here. So you're basically trying to close the space, but you're also opening for more space behind. But to truly compress the area, you have to really press in with your chest as much as you're pressing in with your arms. So you're doing this here at the same time as you're using your chest behind here, okay? So quick here with the legs. This is more of the real kind of scenario that's going to be going on. So I'm grabbing his pinkies, climbing up here, and there we go. We have the choke, pulling my elbow back, and nice and easy, we got it. So the rear naked choke is perhaps the most efficient you can go for. Of course, no gi. You kind of that's one of the few things that you have. In the gi, you have the lapel, you have more different variations that you can do, but definitely the RNC is a go-to in no gi. Definitely. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. And as always, please like and subscribe.